Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. I guess it depends on wherever you are coming to us from around the world. Literally, we have over 5,000 people registered for our full throttle week of live trading and training. Easy for me to say. Welcome aboard. Speaking of that, as more folks are streaming into the room here, do me a favor and let me know if this is your first TGO webinar. Just type in N. Meaning new, and let us know where you're from. Right now we have currently, approximately 35, 37 countries from around the world with TGO members. I want to see if we're going to have any new folks on board. Let me take a look here. Colorado Springs, home of the Community College for the United States Air Force. Sorry, Paul. Phoenix, Pensacola, cradle of naval aviation. Paramus, New Jersey. I'm from Jersey. What exit? Wilmington, North Carolina. Saudi Arabia. There we go. Finally, we're getting some other folks. Southern Oregon. Ted, just shoot an email to support if you want to get a hold of me. Maui, Hawaii. Welcome aboard. Awesome. Exit 163, exit 161. Tony Suppo and Walter. You guys should get together for a couple drinks. McLean, Virginia. Kansas City. There's in Australia. We have a lot of Australians on board. Don't know where that is in China, but welcome aboard, China. Carl from Alaska. Good stuff. Boynton Beach, Florida, right up I-95 from us. Okay, great. Welcome aboard, folks. I am completely fired up to be here from night. Reno. Mike, I spent a lot of time in Reno. I don't know if I'm still out back there after the incident. You know, I went through Navy Fighter Weapons School, the adversary course, Top Gun, and we always went to Reno on the weekends there. So hopefully everybody's better after I've passed through there. All right, real quick. Now this is the audience participation exercise. If you don't know who I am and this over-caffeinated guy with Red Bull in his coffee, you're going to learn a lot tonight, and we're going to have a great time trading this week. Now answer this question. Are you bullish, meaning you think the market's going to go up for 2018? Are you bearish, meaning you think it's going to go down? Are you neutral, meaning you just think we're kind of bump around here? Or do you think it's going to be volatile and it's going to be all over the place? Let's throw some answers in there because I like seeing what you all think as well. Okay, because I've been there. I've been that retail trader, and I've been there. All right. Don't look at me with my glasses on. No idea. A lot of volatiles all over. Hope it's volatile. That's a good answer for an options trader. Cautiously bullish. Volatile with Trump, all over the place, extremely vol. This is incredible, folks. The last time we did full throttle was in January. The last time we did this, we opened our squadron for a week of live trading and training. Almost all the answers were bullish in here. All over the place. Okay. Bullish neutral. There was a couple bearishins there. Nori with the glasses. Thanks, Deborah. All right, good. I call them my cheaters here. They say that your memory is the second thing to go in a man. Can't remember what the first is. Short-term bullish. Okay, awesome. Well, folks, you ready for this? Here's my political answer. You're all right, but when we're trading the options market, it doesn't matter. But let me show you this metric real quick. The S&P ended up for January 6%, right? It ended January 6%. We all remember the rip your face off rally in January. Look at this metric. Since 1950, maybe I was born, maybe I wasn't, went up more than 5%. When January's up more than 5% or more for the full year, finished in the green 12 out of 12 times, you ready for this, folks, with an average gain of 25%. Let me let that sink in. Now, trust me, folks, I've been teaching my members, this ain't your father and mother stock market, okay? Oh, this looks like 1987 right now. We're all going to die. Or this looks like 1927. Are you nuts? And check this metric out, ladies and gentlemen. The final 11 months closed higher, 11 out of 12 with 1987 lower. So I get it that, looking in the rearview mirror is like driving around the Daytona 500, with, looking in the rearview mirror. It doesn't matter to us as options traders. Now, if that doesn't make sense to you, that we can make money in any market condition, you are in the right place, because we're having an incredible 2017. I've been doing this for a quarter of a century, folks, trading options. 2017 was my best year ever in this stock market. And year to date, just 2 months, ladies and gentlemen, we're up nearly 50%, we're up 47% in 2 months. Okay, so where is the market right now? If you remember here, the technical problems with the audio. I can't help you out there, Chuck, if you can't hear me. 2 weeks ago, I briefed you that Morgan Stanley put out a paper that said what? They said that this January, what was it, the end of January pullback, remember the market imploded and then we pulled up and then we kind of went down a little bit here. They said this pullback right here, this is me with really bad drawing, was the appetizer, that we still have the main course yet to go, saying that we are going to implode. I call it the Fred Sanford, folks, right? Anybody old enough to remember Fred Sanford grabbing his chest every episode saying, this is a big one. I'm coming, Elizabeth. Lamont, you big dummy. Morgan Stanley is wrong. Does anybody know what BlackRock said the day before that Morgan Stanley came out? BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager. You know what? They said buy stocks. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, here you don't need to be at BlackRock, you don't need to be at Morgan Stanley to know how to potentially make money in this market. Okay? Is everybody hearing me okay? I want to make sure that people aren't having sound problems and stuff. Everybody good to go? We got good? Yeah. Everybody's good to go. Everybody is loud and clear. All right, folks, if it's on, you might have to log out and log back in sometimes when there's a sound problem. So I'm not going to entertain all that stuff all night. So we don't care where it is right now. Now, why should you listen to me? If this is your first webinar, here's why you should listen to me. I was one of the only financial professionals on the face of the earth, ladies and gentlemen, to predict what? That guy, not Dewey, but Donald J. Trump. And I'll explain why. And if you were here, folks, I told you, Jeffrey Gundlach, if you don't know who Jeffrey Gundlach is, he runs Double Line Capital in Los Angeles. I think they have about $95 billion under management. Jeffrey Gundlach, me, and about 3 other hedge fund managers predicted that Trump was going to win, okay? And I predicted that not only was Trump going to win, where are all my members? What did I say the market was going to do? Well, I got this wrong, right? I said we'd have a rip your face off rally of about 20%. I was wrong, folks. What were we up? I missed it by 5%. We were up 25%. Does anybody remember the geniuses at Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch? Does anybody remember that? What they said? They said what? They said Hillary, 2 days before the election, folks, they said Hillary is going to win it walking away. And if Trump wins, the economy and the stock market is going to implode. Does anybody remember that? Absolutely. They got it wrong. And look at as what is and again, folks, love him or hate him, love or hate the guy, it does not matter. I can put my float suit on and tell you what I feel as an American, and I'm going to put my $6,000 Armani suit on. That's a joke. Don't have one of those. Like Gordon Gekko, and tell you I don't care. The first year under this guy, the stock market has gone through the roof. Now, if you're sitting here going, hey, Whiz, I just got kicked in the gut in February. Well, you're not here and you weren't trading volatility. We predicted that crash as well. There was $8 billion of short volatility trades out there, folks. $8 billion. You're going to learn about trading volatility this week. We traded volatility today and made $1,600. Short volatility trade was crowded. You had all these guys and gals running around picking up dimes in front of steamrollers, folks. And what happened? One of those days they tripped and they all got flattened. So hopefully they collected enough dimes to pay for the rest of their life, because now they're all broke. So the S&P portfolio, the S&P was up about 20. I think it ended up about 25%. The average TGO portfolio for 2017 was up 110%. Okay, absolutely incredible. And I know one of the reasons we're doing this full throttle so quickly after January is because we got a lot of, I'll say, interesting comments about people who could not get a slot. We only open 50 slots whenever we do these full throttle launches, and folks didn't believe us last time. No. You're going to find this week, let's take a look. Like I said, men lie, numbers don't. Let's look at this right now. We had nearly 10,000 people register in January, and as I'm speaking, 5,033. Now it's 5,241. Everybody see this? we're probably going to get up to 10,000 again. So you guys are the smart people. So we're doing another one so close to January, first of all, because our performance is year to date is absolutely incredible. But second of all, I want to hook people up who have are having a bad time trading this market. It's sad. You should not be having a bad time trading this market. Folks, we also predicted this. I just told you, here's your rip your face off January. And my TGO members, and you can watch, everything's recorded here at TGO, folks. This is recorded. Everything this week will be recorded, so you don't have to worry about if you miss anything. I said the first or second week of February is going to suck. I said volatility is going to return to the market the first or second week of February. And it looks like I nailed it like right there in the middle, because this is when this is that short volatility trade, folks. Don't give me the, hey, Wiz, I heard this pullback was maybe interest rates going up. Tomorrow and for the rest of the week, I'm gonna point out how that makes no sense. This was a short volatility trade, folks. And it was also, everybody know what this means? Give me a yes in the chat box if you know what BTFD means. Buy the frigging dip. This was a dip, and this was an absolute buying opportunity, wasn't it? What did we say on this one last week? What did I say about that dip last Thursday? We're going to talk about what happened last Thursday. Trump, Putin, and Powell happened on Thursday. It was a BTFD. We predicted this, guys. So we predicted, let's go through the list. We predicted that the short volatility clown car crowd was going to get wiped out. They got wiped out. I personally know a lot of people in the industry who got wiped out. I have zero sympathy for them. None. If you're going to be short volatility, folks, being short volatility works until it doesn't. Now, I know I'm going to give us a lot of master the obvious type comments this week, but doesn't that make sense? That trade was awesome until it sucked and until it blew out a lot of hedge funds. So we did that. I predicted that this wasn't the Fred Sanford, and I'm old enough to remember good times, right? Or not good times, the Fred Sanford show. Duh, I remember good times too. This was not the big one. I also said that, hey, this is trench warfare. You see this blue line, folks? This is the S&P 500. This is the 200-day moving average. This is the 50. I said the market, it's like trench warfare in World War I. Everybody know their history. Nobody ran out in the middle of this place because you got killed. The market doesn't like being in here. So I said, and this has worked for 25 years. These are magnets. The market either gets pulled down to one of these or up, right? And then, and we predicted that it would go up back around the 50-day. And 3 weeks ago, again, you can watch all these recordings, I predicted that we would chop through the 50-day moving average before we went up. The next catalyst would be up. Well, Wiz, it looks like you got a little bit wrong here. Yeah, I did. You know why? Nobody saw last Thursday coming. Vladimir Putin giving essentially a new Hunt for Red October speech. Hey, we made some cool new weapons here in Russia that can get through your defenses and vaporize millions of Americans, just about all of you. Where the hell did that come from? Jerome Powell, the new Fed skipper, was trying to do the damage that he did Wednesday. And then Donald Trump woke up after his 2 hours of sleep, and we had a trade war. So, but when that happened on Thursday, what did I do, members? Exactly. I said BTFD. And we talked about getting short volatility. So this was a BTFD moment, guys, where folks were heading back up to the 50-day. And then as earnings come in, Q1 earnings, we are going to have to the moon, Alice, and beyond. Wow, I'm coming up with a lot of old ones. We have a 92% win rate year to date, and we're up about 48%. This is, I don't want to jinx myself, folks. This is better than our 2017 performance, and we're 2 months into the year. That's another reason we're doing this, is because this is nuts. When you make it on Wall Street, folks, one of the reasons, and I'm going to give you my background here in a couple minutes, Wall Street sucked, or I did enjoy it. In the military, when you get promoted or you do something cool, you put the ladder down. You know what happens on Wall Street when people make it, or they make a mint, or they pull the ladder up? it's time to put the ladder down, especially for the folks that didn't join us in January, and we saw this, and didn't have fun doing this. If you didn't have fun trading this market in February, I feel bad for you. You found a home. Okay, so we got to get moving. The Wall Street Journal, folks, last week came out with this article that said, the whole Trump tax plan. Guess what's the market's going higher, folks. Q1 earnings are going to be disgusting to the high side. Look what the Wall Street Journal says they're also going to do with that money, companies. They're going to buy back their own shares. If you don't understand how that works, you found a home here, and I'll explain it. But if Apple, bringing back the quadrillion dollars they have stashed in County Cork, Ireland, they said they're going to create 20,000 new jobs, build another headquarter, do a bunch of cool stuff, but they're also going to buy back a bunch of their shares. Folks, that artificially inflates their earnings per share, and the stock price physically cannot go down when you take more of your shares out of circulation, right? So that's bullish right now. But I love the answer that about, let me just say anecdotally, we have 400, 500 people in here and climbing. I love the answer that a lot of you gave that, hey, for 2018, Wiz, I think that's going to be the key word. You nailed it. As an options trader, you love this word. To use my word from Top Gun, it is a target-rich environment. We love volatility. When markets are just doing that or doing this, it's not that volatile because it's kind of known. We like these convulsions all over the place, and I'm going to teach you how to love those things too. Okay, let me get rid of that, and we're going to press forward. I gotta, who is this guy? Real quick, it's funny because a lot of my friends are like, man, I turn people away sometimes, folks, or I just want to give you a heads up right now. If you get triggered politics drives the markets. What happened Thursday? The market imploded because of a potential trade war. Vladimir Putin says he wants to kill all of us, like 1980 or something like that. And Jerome Powell's talking about interest rates potentially going up and down. That's politics. The Fed's not a political entity. Come on, man. Pull this leg and it plays jingle bells. Of course they are. So if you don't like politics, that's what I trade. Okay, we look at fundamentals, we look at volatility. I look at all sorts of stuff. You ever see a big Air Force jet called an AWACS? It has looks like a Frisbee on top, or it looks like a UFO landed on it and is trying to take it away. In the back of an AWACS, they have about 30 people looking at all sorts of different sensors. That's how I trade, and that's how I'm going to teach you to trade. Okay, so I'm going to warn you right now. My politics gets in the way, but look at this. This is you've been warned, right? Okay, I can't stand Republicans, especially look at Paul Ryan today. He's against the Trump leveling the playing field. I love seeing the politics of Democrats now going, or at least unions going, holy crap, steel, aluminum, all these towns, all these blue collar Democrats are like, God bless you, Donald Trump. And Democrats are going crazy. And now Republicans too. I love this stuff, folks. This is awesome, and it what makes things volatile. So I gave you your warning. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, trading is a form of combat. Think about it. There's a winner and there's a loser. And after flying Hornets and doing a bunch of cool stuff I'm going to brief you about, I plan on being on the right side of that trade. Who do I want to say that? I want you to say that by the end of this week. Okay, by Friday, when we close the doors to this squadron, if you're not saying that, I failed, and I want to know why I failed in my mission. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Matthew Buckley, and my call sign is Wiz. And before we go any further, I'm going to clear up one thing about fighter pilots. Let's just say that not all fighter pilots are running around out there with Gucci call signs like Maverick or Iceman. Let's just say that some of us go out and earn our call sign, and it's usually by doing something stupid. So I'll take no questions about how I earned my call sign. Hey, speaking of that, March 3rd, does everybody know what happened on March 3rd, 1969? So Saturday, it was the anniversary of Top Gun. So I flew the FA-18 Hornet for the United States Navy. Happy birthday, Top Gun, a couple days ago. And I also flew as an adversary pilot. So I was the bad guy. I was a good bad guy. How about that? Got to fly in a backseat of a stolen MiG over Pakistan. Got to fly with the Blue Angels one time. Also, one of my jobs as a naval aviator, when I wasn't flying the Hornet right here, my job was to stand on the back of the aircraft carrier with that and listen to the engines and watch this. It was called an LSO, Landing Signal Officer. Now, of course, I can't hear a thing today because when a jet lands 20 feet away from you in full afterburner and all you're wearing is those little foamies, thank you, VA. VA turned down my disability recently. Whatever, I got to fight this. So I was an LSO as well, a landing signals officer, and then I also flew 44 combat sorties over Iraq. So thank you, thank you, Tamara. Tamara, I could never trade without politics. Thanks to Whiz, it would be like trading blind. I appreciate that. If you ever wanted to know what the Persian Gulf looks like, folks, that's it in the background. So I'm heading south, going out to the Abraham Lincoln. That's what Kuwait looks like. That's Iraq, and there's Iran in the distance. It's like a lake. There's the Persian Gulf, and you can have it. Thank you, guys. You're welcome. Thank you I appreciate that, folks. I do it again tomorrow. It's a young man and a young woman's fight right now. So that's me. All right, Wiz. Well, how'd you go from the cockpit to the trading pit? Real quick, how'd you guys do last week? We put on 2 trades, weekly options trades. These are not for the faint of heart. I'm going to tell you about our different services throughout the week. You're gonna get to see each one of our portfolios in action. But real quick, last week we put on a bull put spread, a weekly trade on Amazon. It closed at the close, if you had stayed in that trade, for a $2,800 gain. Well, how much was it? Well, the first question you should ask, everybody, I'm going to teach you this week, folks. The only thing you look at before you place any trade is Mr. Sad Face right there. There was $4,700 in risk, and we made about risking 48 to make $28. Let me get a hell yeah. There's all my members rogering up right now. Isn't this awesome? Yeah, exact. Good. Awesome. You're welcome, Matthew. Absolutely. So, guys, there was one Amazon trade that we placed last Monday, $2,800. If you like making $2,800 potentially in a week, you're in the right place. What did I do Thursday afternoon when Amazon and the market pulled back? What did we do? I put on another trade, a bear. So that first trade was bullish. I thought Amazon was going up next week. When the world went to hell in a handbasket on Thursday, in a live trade brief that you're going to attend this Thursday with me, we put on, or I didn't get filled, but I sent out to my members what's called a bear call spread. Almost the same exact metrics. Look at this one, risking 47.40 to potentially make $2,800. Now that I didn't get filled on this trade, I got filled on the other one, but some of my members who got filled on both trades, let me get a hell yeah if you wouldn't have minded 2 shots last week with 2 kills. That's about $5,500 in profit on about $4,200 in risk. Now remember, that's total risk. That's not per trade, because when you do trades that are, I think it's going to stay in a range, you couldn't lose on both. That's 1 week, guys. That's a hell of a, that's a good weekend in Vegas right there. Okay, Sam, we're going to cover losses as well. You're reading my mind. How'd you do today? Today we saw about $2,300 in gains on what? Volatility. We closed a trade in 3 hours that was up $1,600. $1,600. And then I put on another Amazon trade that expires on Friday. That's at the closing bell, is up $670. Okay, so this is we're having a blast. So last week was great. Today was great. And here's the weekly options trade for my members I sent out today. Risking 5 to potentially make 4,900. I'm going to teach you this week, folks. You see that number right there? Max risk. I have an SOP, a standard operating procedure, and every trader, I'm going to teach you to come up with your own. For a $100,000 model portfolio here, $100,000 model portfolio, I don't want to risk more than 5%, $5,000 on any one trade. But okay, where'd you get that from? That's me. I've been doing this for 25 years. Trust me, I've initially, when I was a youngin', I'd throw a trade on. I didn't even know what the hell the risk was until I lost money on the trade. I'm like, holy crap, I didn't know I could lose that much. So you're going to learn this week that the trades that I put on have limited risk. Okay, so that one was up nearly $700 today, and we're loving it. Very, very good looking trade. So tonight, what are we going to do, folks? I'm going to show you the flight schedule for the week, everything we're going to do. I'm also going to tell you about me and about Top Gun Options. I'm going to show you our portfolio performance. I love how Sam said, well, what about your losing trades? I will show you my losing trades more than my winning trades because that's what we learn from. If you ever go to one of these presentations and all they do is show you how great they are and they've never had a losing trade, run. Run as fast as you can. I got kicked in the teeth 2-3 weeks ago with an Amazon bull put spread. It ain't all sunshine and roses, folks. Losses happen. We're going to talk about our trading and training methodology, and then you're going to learn this acronym, NOTT FFEAR. Okay, NOTT FFEAR 2018. Okay? God. And trust me, folks, I'm not ignoring questions or anything like that. I'll save a lot of questions to the end because it kind of gets my flow. Tamara, I'll take Wiz's losses any day over others because I get so many more times in multiple games. Thank you, Tamara. Okay, so here's what we're doing this week. You should have the schedule, and you're going to get an email, ladies and gentlemen, 1 hour before every one of these briefs. So if you registered, if you're listening and saying to me right now, you're registered for the week. So you don't have to call or email support like, hey, how do I get, you're taken care of. So tonight we're doing our welcome aboard brief. Tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m., we're going to do what's called the primary live trade brief, and I'm going to talk about volatility trading. On Wednesday, we're going to do the accelerated retirement brief. Okay, so as you can see, here's one portfolio, here's two portfolios. This one's a little bit more conservative, and that one's a little bit more middle of the road. So that's going to be Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And that's when I'm going to open 50 slots. If you didn't get yours in January, and you're one of the folks that sent me a nice love letter saying, why can't I get a slot? Now, this is why we're opening up this month. Here is a change, ladies and gentlemen. What is it, 7 o'clock Wednesday night in Fort Lauderdale, I'm speaking to Mission United. That's the United Way's charity for homeless veterans. So the lady called me tonight, and she's like, you all ready for Wednesday night? I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. So, folks, I'm moving what was going to be Wednesday night's training to Thursday. Okay, I'm giving it's a keynote to folks that are trying to turn it around, and they're homeless veterans. So I'm pretty sure you guys would understand, okay? So Thursday, though, during that day, we're going to do a 1 o'clock analyze your trade. And then Friday's it, folks. I'm going to do a weekly options debrief. I'm going to teach you about what weekly options are, and I'm going to kind of debrief the week and clean anything up. That's when we're going to close our annual slots. And if we have if we don't get all 50 annual slots filled, we occasionally open like a month-to-month membership as well. So if you're not used to this platform, kind of at the top of where you're seeing that slide, there's a little camera. Okay, like I said, you're going to get an email an hour before every one of these briefs, but if you want to see this schedule kind of laid out, click that little camera icon and it'll take a screenshot of this, okay? So I'll give you about a couple seconds there. Find the little camera. It's on the top of this thing. And I think in Mac, one of my members, tell me what you do in Mac. It's like control something. I'll post this at the end. I don't want to mess up our flow. This week, you're also going to learn a kind of a top secret tactic that I call a tredge. The hell is that word? You should all know what the word hedge means, right? You ever hear the term hedge fund? Oh, we're going to make fun of them in a little bit. Everybody know what hedge means? It means you want to make money in any market condition, whether it's going up, down, or sideways, right? You want to hedge in case the market goes freak mode, right? On a hedge, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to teach you that I never, ever lose money on a hedge. It is protection. How many of you sit at your kitchen table and complain every month that you're losing so much money to USAA or State Farm over your auto, home, or life insurance? If you do, you're odd. That's not right. So a hedge means what? Protection. What's a trade? Come hell or high water, folks, I want to make money on a trade. If I don't make money on a trade, I'm not too happy. I want to find out why I was wrong and how I don't repeat it. So a tredge, ladies and gentlemen, is a trade and a hedge put together, meaning I think this thing's pretty damn certain to make money, and it's also going to serve as a hedge in case the market goes freak mode. So this week, you're going to learn about this. It is called a tredge. Martin, Command-Shift-3 takes a screenshot in Mac. Oh, Dan, in Mac it still says screenshot. Okay. All right. Some of your fellow squadron mates are helping you out with what to do in a Mac. But I'll put the schedule up at the end again. All right, Wiz, how did you get from the essentially the cockpit to what basically is the trading pit? I was born one of 6 kids. Irish Catholic family in New Jersey, not super, kind of middle, lower class. Loved, and we lived on the Jersey Shore, right outside of Atlantic City. And I was raised service above self. I was raised to love my country, service above self. We lived on the beach. I lived across the street. My best friend his dad was an Air National Guard pilot. He flew F-106s out of Atlantic City during the Cold War. And they were literally, they'd scramble and launch on Bear bombers that would kind of test the airspace coming in and out. Well, so I love the ocean. I loved our country. I love flying, and every day before my dad would go to work in Atlantic City, he used to sit there with the Atlantic City Press or the Wall Street Journal in my face. And he'd sit there and I'm like, Dad, what are these hieroglyphic stuff on the back? He said, Matthew, those are stocks. Duh. He's like, all right, you go to McDonald's today, you buy a Happy Meal. If you own stock in McDonald's, the stock price might go up. Always interested me. I didn't join the Navy to get rich, folks. You don't join it unless you're Obama, Clinton, or any of these people, the Clinton Foundation or any of that stuff. You do not go into the government to get rich. You go in to serve other people, or at least some of us do. So I was always interested in finance. Okay, so what happened? When I was a young ensign in Naval Air Station, Key West, Florida, before I went to Pensacola Flight School, I remember buying my first mutual fund with USAA. And then what happened? Well, I was dating at the time, and my girlfriend seemed to keep Ann Taylor in business personally, and I, to my credit or fault, I paid the American Express bill every month. Guess what the first two stocks I bought were? Ann Taylor and American Express. When I started to learn aviation and to become a naval aviator, I started to apply everything I learned flying a fighter aircraft to trading. Having a strategy, implementing tactics, managing risk, contingency planning, knowing when to eject out of a bad situation before it got worse, or knowing when to get out of a good situation before it got worse. And I applied it to my trading with incredible results. Okay, this is absolutely incredible. And you don't need a military background. You don't even know what the hell a Hornet is. It ain't rocket surgery, folks. I'm going to teach you the methodologies that can keep you safe. Okay. And Bob, tell that to the 1,000 millionaires in Congress. I'm with you, man. If you don't make one trade brief with Whiz, you just use his training videos. Thank you, Bill. Ray, I have 2 brothers and 2 sons in the military, plus several nephews, Navy decals on a motorcycle. Great logic in your discussion. So why Top Gun options, folks? This Top Gun options started as a result of one of our nation's biggest tragedies. When I got off active duty in late 2000, I joined like a lemming going off a cliff. Every other active duty Air Force, Navy, and Marine pilot going to the airlines. It's going to be a rich airline pilot working one day a month, making 6 figures and, flight attendants and conga lines. Well, at the same time I started with American Airlines in Fort Worth, Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth, I got picked up by a Naval Reserve Fighter Squadron in Fort Worth called the Strike Fighter Squadron 201. We were based out of Naval Air Station, Fort Worth. Folks, I got to tell you, that was the dream job. Airline pilot, part-time fighter pilot. It doesn't get any better than that. I won the lottery, right? So what happened? On the morning of September 11th, my wife called me out to the living room and said, "What? Hey man, take a look what happened. Some idiot hit the World Trade Center." I'm all right. Bad weather. It's bad. Small Cessna. What happened? I went out and saw what? Beautiful day. And God Almighty, what was that hole? As I'm going through my mental aviation checklist of how this could have happened, I saw the second plane hit, and I immediately knew we were under attack. What did I do? I raced into the bedroom. Push my American Airlines uniform. I think it's still in the plastic. Push it out of the way. It'd come from the tailors. Put on my flight suit, my old boots. I hopped in my old '89 Porsche, and I broke the land speed record getting out to Naval Air Station Fort Worth. I got out there as soon as they just before they closed it, and went to a combat posture. So me and another buddy in my Hornet squadron made it out there, and then 4 guys from the TANG, the Texas Air National Guard. They flew F-16s. They made it out there as well. So we ran next door to them. Before we ran over to the TANG, I told maintenance, "Hey man, get 2 jets ready, full mission capable, and let's load some bullets and missiles." We went over. We briefed with the Texas Air National Guard. As we're briefing to get airborne and fly combat air patrol, right on the TVs in the command post, the Pentagon got hit. Absolutely surreal day, folks. A couple days later, I actually launched and made national news and forced a plane to land on a grass strip. So here you go, folks. I went from potentially flying in an airliner that day to shooting one down, to maybe even shooting down a squadron mate. Most of the guys in my reserve squadron in Fort Worth flew for American Airlines. So do me a favor and try and imagine what it would be like to be ordered to shoot down an airliner that day full of you guys, let alone one flown by your best friend that you flew combat sorties over Iraq. Holy crap. Incredible day. When I got hired by American Airlines, I got a letter from the chief pilot on color stationery, and he signed in ink, "Dear Edward, welcome aboard." A couple days after the attack, I got a photocopied letter from HR, American Airlines Human Resources, that said, "Dear crew member." It was like off-center photocopy too. I still have it. I want to frame it. So in the blink of an eye, I lost my health care, I lost my career, I lost everything. My wife at the time had to go start waiting tables at Buca de Beppo in South Lake, Texas. I started selling real estate. Thankfully, or maybe not thankfully, our reserve squadron got a shit pot of money. Why? Because we were going to be going to war. But what did I do? After getting kicked in the gut, I started applying myself even more full-time to my trading. I'm like, holy crap, man. If I can lose all this stuff in a blink of an eye, I'm going to start trading, and it's time to get serious, man. Let's go. So I focused all my attention to trading. I also started being a consultant. I started working. Look at these companies on this screen. I've done consulting. I've given keynotes. I've done workshops. I help these folks improve their businesses. So I started going on the speaking tour, right? Thanks, Julian. Look at these guys. So we have technology, we have finance, we have oil, we have, look at Cargill, man. We have agriculture, GE. Look at all this stuff, folks. So what did I do? I started going around giving keynotes and teaching people how to apply this stuff to their businesses. I was doing it in my trading. But guess what? It works for business as well. I even wrote a book, From Sea Level to Sea Level. Little play on words, right? But folks, my performance went through the roof. What happened? I eventually popped up on the radar of this is going to be a big couple words, but I'll help you out. One of the largest volatility arbitrage equity options trading firms in the world. All right, I got it out. Anybody ever been here? This is the beautiful Chicago Board of Trade, the CBOT. This is the intersection of Jackson and LaSalle. Very historic. Can everybody see these big, beautiful windows? That was our trading firm, Peak 6 Investments. What an absolute blast. So the owners of Peak 6 said, "Hey, Whiz, whatever you're doing, come up and do it for us." I got to be honest with you. I'm like, holy, look at this place, man. When I was there, I helped build a hedge fund. I helped build the retail broker options house. I got to be honest with you. And I felt like Valentine in Trading Places, right? Little old retail trader Whiz in a $2.5 billion firm. I had an absolute blast when I was up there, folks. So I ended up becoming the managing director of strategy for one of the largest vol arb firms in the country. Little old Whiz, retail options trader. You, the rooms get near capacity here. I was you. I am you. So what else did I do? Many of you, anybody remember the Options News Network? I was the founder and CEO of the WYNN.TV. I know John and Pete Najarian, who are on CNBC pretty well. They're great dudes, but CNBC kind of pays lip service, I got to be honest with you, to options traders, right? But we were the CNBC for options. I essentially went from me building this company to 80,000 traders and investors in a year. I absolutely loved it, folks. I love the Midwest. I love Chicago. Anybody from Chicago in here? It's no offense. I'm sorry to hear that. Can't stand the weather, man. I'm a beach and ocean guy, and Lake Michigan didn't cut it. So 8 years ago, 2010, I packed up the squadron and we moved down here to Boca and Fort Lauderdale, and I've had an absolute blast. But good, Patrick, Ray. I lived out in Napertucky, out in Naperville. So let's get airborne. That was me. That's my background. How the hell did you go from the cockpit to the trading pit, dude? Well, that's it. Now, we've been in business. You ready for this? We are going on 8 years. If you've been in this financial training space at all, I love some of the I'm not a huge testimonial guy, but I can show you throughout tons and tons of people. When they get here, they're like, where the hell you been? I'm like, where you been? We've been in business 8 years. I have heartbreaking notes from people like, Whiz, if I had met you years ago, man, if you sunk a shit pot of money in other places, you might be kicking yourself by the end of the week, but welcome home. I've trained, I don't educate. Do not use the word financial education with me. The world is, anybody here, that Calvin Coolidge quote, one of the sentences says, the world is full of educated derelicts. Take a look at Berkeley. Take a look at our institute. My son's going to college next year. Thank God he's going to Norwich University and he's going to be in the Corps of Cadets. I'd be terrified of the idiots teaching. Education, knowledge, yay. Training gives you a skill. Fighter pilots are trained. Doctors are trained. Attorneys are trained. Plumbers are trained. How many of you have seen a buddy go, I'll fix my sink myself? I mean, God, a plumber. Yeah, a plumber's an apprentice for 2 years. Anybody ever? Yeah, after that guy breaks everything and calls a plumber. So training. I don't educate folks. I'm going to train you this week. And when you become a member, I don't care if you're like some of my Marine buddies tonight, offense intended, that you don't know how to spell the word options. Or you're sitting here going, hey, man, I trade straddles, strangles, and reverse covered calls with a twist. I even know what that is. I made that up. I will teach you a building block approach, how to trade options. Listen to me, folks. God bless the Navy, because, again, I'm no rocket surgeon. The Navy can take people, literally in my class at Pensacola, folks, there was one guy who his first flight in an airplane was to flight school. He lived in Montana and never traveled, never been in an airplane. There was also a guy in my class who had 6,000 hours flying Learjets and wanted to be a Navy pilot. Both of them got broken down and started at the same place. And matter of fact, the guy with 6,000 hours almost washed out of flight school because he had bad habits. So if you don't know what an option is, welcome home and welcome aboard, right? So we've been around the block. Here's our 2017 performance, folks. Our best returns at TGO since getting airborne, and my personal returns as well. So real quick, don't think that you're missing anything by not being in a hedge fund. Take a look at hedge fund performance, folks. 2014, you can 0. This is like Mr. Blutarski's GPA in Animal House, 0.04. Hey, 6%, 10% year to date. Look at their February, folks. So don't think that you're missing out on a hedge fund. Of the over 9,000 hedge funds, and I've worked with a bunch of them, I'd say about maybe a couple hundred out of 9,000 actually hedge. They ain't hedged, folks. It's a lie. So don't think you're missing out on paying somebody a fee of $2.20 to manage your money. Does anybody know who David Einhorn is? David Einhorn, not from Pet Detective, right? Einhorn is Finkel. He runs Greenlight Capital. That's an aircraft carrier of a hedge fund. You know how they did in the whole year of 2017? Can anybody see this right here? 1.6%. He sent a letter to an end of year letter. This must be frustrating to you. You think? The S&P returned 21.8%. This must be frustrating to my clients who pay me 2% and 2 and 20 to manage their money. Ladies and gentlemen, that's comical. So I manage 4 model portfolios here. Okay, they're based on $100,000. Mark, there was a lot of redemptions, man. We met $100,000 notional accounts here. This was the primary live trade brief, 125% return on risk, right? At any one time, guys, with a $100,000 model portfolio, oh my God, man, do not ever, and I'm not giving you trading advice, but I would never be all 100 grand in all the chips in. I think on average, use about between 40 and 60 grand of that. Never be fully deployed, especially in a volatile market. The weekly options and urgent alert service, 121 grand. Okay, that was a 106% return on the risks that we took. And here's my embarrassment, folks. I don't want to show this slide. This was the retirement portfolio. Oh man, that sucks. Only 100. Damn AIG. So folks, in case you didn't notice, there's red on them there slides. So let's talk about red. It ain't all sunshine and lollipops, folks, right? Real quick, some quick testimonials. Greg, I think you're in here. Greg, 28 grand. in one contract on Amazon. Where's the one? Tamara, I'm gonna use one of yours. Tamara's been here. Let me tell you about Tamara. Tamara started trading she's going on her 1 year anniversary. And I met Tamara last, what was it, March down here. We did a live event in Miami. Everybody do me a favor. I said I'm not a big testimonial guy, so I'm not reading all this crap. We have shit to do. Everybody please read what Tamara posted. What was this, Tuesday, Tamara? Or this was last Tuesday. Everybody take 1 second and read this. And Tamara, I'm putting you on the spot. So I know I asked you if I could use this. June. Okay, good. Isn't that incredible? Kevin, I agree. So I'll read it. I'm so excited. I've had the best 8 days of trading in the past year. This was when this shit was going on, folks. Tamara had the best time trading volatility and other things. Look at her return in 8 days. 412%. Scotty, I don't know if Scotty's in here. He made $8,200 in 2 weeks as a member. John, I saw you in here. Netted over 15K this month. Ron, thanks for the 36 grand this year. These are you, folks. These are people. Karen's been a member here for about a year and a half. My goal, to trade like Tamara. Awesome. Greg's had a great run in Amazon. Yep, Greg, I grabbed yours up here, my friend. So, folks, good stuff. You ready? But I want to channel somebody that I really don't like, to be honest with you. Sandra, we'll talk about how many contracts they did, or we do. So, Sam, let me answer your question. You ready for this? Losing trades happen. The objective is to win the war, ladies and gentlemen, but we lose some battles. I can't stand this guy, but I love this quote. You ready for it? Everybody grab a sip of Pinot Noir and listen. He said in war, and this is like trading, folks, because I told you trading is a form of combat. He said this. He said, there are known knowns. There are things that we know in combat. Then he said there are known unknowns, meaning, hey, we know that we don't know these things. And ladies and gentlemen, the last sentence is my favorite. I'll put it on my tombstone. There are unknown unknowns, meaning there are things we don't know that we don't know. Again, that sounds like I had a buddy in one of my squadrons. His call sign was Moto. Master of the obvious. That might sound like a master of the obvious comment, but it ain't, folks. Listen to me. Here's a perfect example. Does anybody remember a couple years ago when I remember this day? This is why I use this as a poignant example. I was in a Monday weekly options brief. We had been watching Google for, I'm like a card counter, folks. You don't just start trading a symbol one day. I follow it for a while before we even get into it. What happened? I put on an iron condor on a Monday at 1 o'clock, and an iron condor is like a range-bound trade. Okay, it means I think Google's going to stay between these two strikes, and we'll talk about strikes and all sorts of stuff. Tonight's an intro. Notice tonight, folks, you ain't going to get any trades or anything, right? Tomorrow, the rest of the week, we're in combat. Tonight is your in brief. But what happened? I'll never forget this. I went down the street to the Boca Hotel, the Boca Resort, to work out. I get on the treadmill. I call it Comedy Central, folks, CNBC, right? I watch it for the entertainment value. CNBC at 4:17 in the afternoon after the closing bell. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Google has changed its name to Alphabet, and the stock is up 5% after hours. What did I do? I laughed. Right? Why? Holy crap, you're telling me you lost $5 grand that next morning on that trade and you're laughing? Yeah. There was absolutely no way in hell that I knew. And anybody in this webinar out of 600-700 people call it Alphabet? You're weird. No offense. It's like if FedEx changed its name to Steve. You'd always call it FedEx. I know of nobody who calls the damn thing Alphabet. So that's why I laughed. I'm like, I'm going to tell you something real quickly about fighter pilots. We have a dark sense of not life or foreboding, or I don't know how you'd say it, but ladies and gentlemen, if one of my brothers or sisters gets shot down and it's because of something she or he should have known or missed or something like that, I'll drink to them at the officers club, but between you and I, we'll look at each other and whisper and go, they deserved it. Now, If one of my brothers or sisters gets shot down due to something, you know what, man? We all the intel, we looked at everything. We were suitcase before we flew that mission over Syria. This was a mobile launcher. Nobody saw. Shit, they rolled it out of a tunnel. If we lose somebody because of that, we'll say, what a great person. Does everybody understand that? Okay. So Arthur, Priceline is now named Booking Holdings. That's not a joke. See, you're getting it. Judy, I'll answer that towards the end. So, ladies and gentlemen, and Sam, you're a good straight man earlier. We lose. I got kicked in the teeth, 3 or 4 weeks ago on as that thing. We predicted the short vol trade. I didn't get it right to the day, guys. My call sign's Whiz. It ain't Nostradamus. So I got kicked in the gut recently with one of those $5,000. But like Tamara said, I'll take one of these every once in a while for a 92% win rate. So do not sit here and think that we got some incredible track record, right? Well, I mean, we do have an incredible track record, but there's not one person on this earth that does not have a losing trade or any of that. It's a lie. Let me ask you this real quick. And I love how my current members come to an in-brief that they got years ago, but they still come for support. And current members can't answer. If you're new and this is the first time you're seeing me, what's the percentage you think a professional options trader wants to win? What do you think their win rate target is? Answer now. What do you think? 60, 60, 40, 50, 90, 60, 60, 80, 81,000, 45, 50, 50, 70, 70, 50. Okay, 100%. Kathy, that's physically impossible. Karen, you're squinting. Put your glasses on. Son of a bitch. I can't. It's small. All right, folks. That's funny. Here's the answer. My time on Wall Street, the average, and there's the key word, the average professional trader wanted to win 60% of the time. Folks, if you put 50, you never make any money. If you put less than 50, like 45 or any, 60%, ladies and gentlemen, over time means you're doing pretty damn good. For 2017, my win rate was 74%. I will tell you, in the past 6 months, we are at, in the rolling 6 months, we are at 92%. That's insane. I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to be my own attorney and all that stuff. That ain't going to, past performance is not blah, 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 blah. Dan, thanks to TGO, I'm at 86% win rate so far this year. Hard to believe. Well, who just wrote that? So guys, you know what I'm going to start doing here? Check this out. So Dan, everybody read this. Here's the stuff that you guys are typing in here. So everybody read Dan's. I ain't making this up. Dan, thanks, TGO. I'm at 86% win rate so far this year. Thanks, Wiz. That's why I'm here, my brother. So if he's doing that, we're doing pretty good. All right. So here's our methodology. Now we're getting into a little of the meat here. So remember the little camera thing up there, or start taking notes. And I give all credit and due to the Navy and the United States military for teaching me this stuff, because that's why I'm a successful trader, and I'm going to teach you. Here is our methodology. Like I've been joking about, man, it ain't rocket surgery. It's called SOT. Strategic, Operational, Tactical. Okay, this is the way, this is our methodology, and this is how I'm going to conduct the rest of the live trade briefs this week. You ready? So this is what we do with SOT. And unfortunately, the average retail trader, the over 6,000 people we probably have registered right now, you're very tactical. No offense, but it ain't your fault. You get up in the morning, you put your bunny slippers on, you take a drag of Folgers, and you watch CNBC and go, look at that guy. I have no idea. Oh yeah, Elon Musk. He builds rockets. This guy's saying buy Tesla. All right, yeah, that looks good. You put a Tesla trade on, and in a week, you lost all your money in that trade. You deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. Holy crap, Vladimir Putin's threatening to kill us. That's why I'm losing in my Tesla trade? Yeah. So what I'm going to do this week is teach you. I'm going to be your briefer. Okay, I'm going to be a lowly lieutenant, and you're going to be an admiral or a general. I'm going to give you a strategic brief in every live trade brief that we do. You have to know what's going on around the globe. What's going on with the global economy, also political or militarily. Anybody remember last year when Donald Trump in his country club in New Jersey said, "I am going to rain fire and fury on North Korea"? I was like, what did that guy just say? What happened to the market? Greg, by the way, my Amazon 2019 trade is up 53 grand. All right, hold on. I gotta grab that one, folks. Like I said, I'm not big on testimonials, but Greg, he's been keeping me in the loop on his Amazon trades. Everybody stare at that. Thanks, Greg. You even wrote it twice, so I'm gonna put that on the desktop. Greg, Amazon. So what a gift that keeps on giving, man. So there's Greg and his Amazon trade. Okay, so here's what we do. And I'm going to, tomorrow when we trade live, folks, Mario Draghi speaks, on Thursday? If you don't know who Mario Draghi is, that's a problem. But Mario Draghi he runs the ECB, right? He's essentially the Jerome Powell. He's their Fed chief. If you don't know who Jerome Powell is, that's equally troubling. And also, Bank of Japan Governor Kuroda is speaking this week. Both of these gentlemen might start doing what is called tapering. Does everybody remember our Fed chief, Ben Bernanke, 2 skippers ago, did what? Saved capitalism. He was pumping at its high point $85 billion into this market. What happened when he started to pull the punch bowl away from all the market drunks? We had convulsions, right? So I guarantee you, if they pull the punch bowl away over in Europe or over in Japan, we might see it. We might feel it. Gene, absolutely. We'll talk about account size and everything like that. Chris, Greg, do me a favor and type in there. I'll put it up at the end. How much was your initial investment in Amazon? So I can answer that for a lot of people because people want to be like Greg. Roy, great point. What did Mario Draghi say years ago? I will do, here's a paraphrase, but it's pretty damn close. I will do whatever it takes to save the euro. What the hell's that sound like? That sounds like there's a safety net under that place. But guess what? Now the dude this week might say, I'm done with my safety net. All right, so after I do, and this is, I don't know, in the average brief, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, it's about 15 minutes, depending on what's going on in the world. Then I'm going to do I peel back the onion, folks, and I'm going to get operational and talk about what's going on in the U.S., what's going on with the Fed, what's going on with interest rates, what's going on with DACA, what's going on with the government shutdown, what's going on with Jerome Powell, all of the stuff that we have to talk about domestically. Does everybody remember these government shutdowns under Boehner and the Republicans? What would happen with volatility in the VIX? Holy crap, we're going to have a government shutdown. I'd get long volatility because it would go up. And then, what, was the government going to stay shut down for a year? I'd love it. But no, we'd get bearish on volatility. We used to print money on this stuff. So you have to know what's going on here. And then, and only then, ladies and gentlemen, do we get tactical and trade. So if you're going to come in tomorrow afternoon to my live trade brief at 1 o'clock, and as I'm giving a brief, this happens it's usually 1 or 2 people. Like in the first 2 minutes, I threw a guy out. My current members you can type in the chat box. I threw 2 people out after they became members. I was like, where were you during the full throttle week? Because they both started complaining within minutes. I was talking about this and that, or tax reform and the impact. They're like, stop the politics, give us the trades. I'm like, you're gone and you're gone. And they were both gone. We just don't need that. And they're not that smart. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is no such thing as an option strategy. If you're sitting here right now going, Whiz, my favorite option strategy is a covered call, you're wrong. How do you know my favorite? You're wrong in your terminology. A strategy, ladies and gentlemen, is paying for college, short-term income generation, buying a boat in 6 months, managing risk. That's strategy, folks. That's a high level. A tactic, an iron condor, a bull put spread, a double vertical, buying puts. Those are tactics. So if you learn nothing this week, I'm a failure. But more importantly, you learn that there's no such thing as an options strategy. Everybody understand that? Thank you, man. Karen, yes, you did. Awesome. That's great. All right, Greg, I'll pull that up at the end. Awesome. All right, folks. So here's our portfolios, man. We have strategic, operational, tactical. I showed you today we put on a weekly options trade that expires Friday on Amazon. That's a very tactical trade. We trade the front months, right? Vertical spreads, iron condors, hedges. If you don't know what any of those words mean, welcome aboard. You're going to get 8 training sessions, right? I'll talk about iron condors. I talked about iron condors last Thursday night for 2 hours. You will not leave one of my briefs going, what the hell's an iron condor? Okay. And then obviously we have strategic, like our accelerated retirement portfolio. We have, like Greg is talking about, he's long-term bullish out to January of 2019. You can put on an option trade out to January of 2020. Greg, are you in here? Buddy of mine that lives in Icon, Greg, he trades stocks. We went out to lunch last week. I'm like, oh my God, man, why are you tying up so much capital in stocks? For a fraction of the capital you have tied up in those stocks, you can control the same amount of shares, and you pick the time period, man. Going to change his life. Okay, so that's the SOT methodology. Now let's get a little bit more meatier here. At the end of the day, folks, trading is a form of combat. Okay, somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, and I'm going to teach you how to win. Write this acronym down. And I've added to, you can almost, if you watch my replays from, I think about 2016, I've been using this acronym, but I've added a couple letters to this. So write this down. This is kind of guiding how I'm trading in 2018. It's called NOTT FFEAR. I'm not fearing 2018. I think 2018 is going to be better than 2017, but we're going to have these convulsions, but it's going to be up and to the right. And I'm going to tell you why. Here we go. North Korea. There's a little country called North Korea. Does everybody remember some of our market pullbacks last year? How about the idiot who sends out a missile alert in Hawaii? Typical. What do you have to do in government to get fired? The guy sends out an alert. It says, do you really want to tell Hawaii that we're about to all get killed? You have to push yes again. So North Korea freaked us out. And how about the coward the Coward County Sheriff down here in South Florida? What a disgrace. Anyway, folks, what do you have to do in government to get fired? At one time last year, off of the coast of North Korea, we had 3 CSGs. Anybody know what a CSG is? You're looking at it. We had 3 carrier strike groups last October. I can tell you, because you can Google and maybe dig around. Last October, when the market flattened out and then we did this, last October was supposed to be go time for us against North Korea. The president of China figured out that Trump wasn't kidding and said, okay, hold on. We're really trying to sit on our crazy nephew. So ladies and gentlemen, this ain't solved yet. Don't give me the bull crap of the Olympics and that creepy lady, man. Pence wouldn't shake her. You know who Vice President Pence brought to the Olympic Games? Otto Warmbier's father. Like Mike Pence is going to turn around and shake the hand of the sister who tortures, first of all, its own people, but tortured and killed an American and flew him home. We got him home as a vegetable, and he died after in his parents' arms. You can kiss my ass. I'm going to shake her hand. Anyway, North Korea, folks. The O in NOTT FFEAR is oil. Does everybody remember 2 years ago and then 3 years ago what happened? Oil imploded. I mean, hell, I think Brent and West Texas Tea broke $30, didn't it? How many of you woke up during that time and said, why the hell is my portfolio getting destroyed because of oil? I'm going to teach you, ladies and gentlemen, why low oil prices ain't necessarily good. The $20 a week in gas savings you might have ain't going to counteract the 15,000 people that get laid off from Schlumberger who work on these rigs and they make about $100,000 a year. That I'll teach you the economics of oil, folks, but oil is part of the NOTT FFEAR. Does that make sense? Okay, 20. Alan's saying 26. Greg's saying 28. Yeah, right around there, guys. So O is oil, right? Exxon came back down into this range, but up through the end of January, we had 26, if you allow me to round up, we had about 26 grand in 5 trades in 4 months. Okay. This thing, we bailed out of it here. So we had an iron condor, which is a tactic that, hey, I think something's going to stay in a range. As this thing did a slow fly into the dirt, and then we bailed out of Exxon here. We got right back in ExxonMobil, right about there in what is called a long call diagonal. And then we started trading in iron condor again. And then when it blew out the top, we stopped. So we'll talk oil, guys. I got to get through the acronym here. The T in not fear is Trump. Love or hate the guy. If you've never read The Art of the Deal, now is the time. If you don't know what this guy's doing, from immigration to the trade war, he's he's playing chess when other people aren't playing checkers. I really don't care how you feel. I don't care, as long as the market goes up and we can do. Tax reform, folks, has been phenomenal. Unless you're Nancy Pelosi and you think that $2,000 in your pocket is crumbs. Apparently, that's her valet fee for the month, right? She lives behind a big walled mansion in the San Francisco Bay Area, and she thinks $2,000 is crumbs. Let them eat cake. She's gonna regret she said that. Look at this slide, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot help but this. He is a complicated man. I don't disagree, but he's a New York real estate guy. But anyway, folks, the average S&P 500 company will see their earnings go up an average of 8 to 10%. I'm going to say that again. If you don't know what the hell earnings per share is, just nod your head and go, holy crap. That is so bullish for stocks, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'm going to be covering this all week live in the market and show you all my evidence, but just hang out and listen to me for now. Ooh, tech, it's dead. It's Fredo. I'm Michael Corleone and Godfather. Tech is done, and Apple too. That should say Amazon. I'm going to teach you to hate tech and Amazon. Not that I think they're going out of business anytime soon. It's dead money, and I'm going to tell you about it, folks. With Facebook and Twitter and Alphabet, Google, with YouTube and banning conservatives, they're in bad shape, folks. Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook, said that today. They said the glory days for tech are over. Greg, we are poised to make some serious cash, man. Let me blow through this stuff. The F in not fear is the Fed. If you don't know who this guy is, his name's Jerome Powell. He's the new Fed chief. Write this down, or at least listen to it. I'll say it a couple times this week. When interest rates are high, stocks will die. I'll say it again. Hold on, Mary. When interest rates are high, stocks will die. Money's more expensive, folks, right? When interest rates are low, stocks will grow. So this is why the market, or if you're not educated, you might think that that's why the market pulled back the other week, is interest rates. Let's see how. So we started this webinar. Look at that, 5,300 people. One of the reasons that this market started to get a little iffy here was what? The Fed started saying, hey, we think interest rates might be an issue. Holy crap. Somebody yelled fire in church. When interest rates go up, folks, remember back in the day, I remember flying out of Fort Worth Naval Air Station and seeing banks like, hey, come in for our 5% CD. Anybody ever see one of those in the past 15 years? No. We've been in a near zero rate interest environment. So if you think, ladies and gentlemen, that's you're going to go get some treasuries or buy some debt, who in the right mind is going to get out of this market and go flee into that stuff? It's not going to happen. So I get the rising interest rate talk, but know that the market gets spooked when the Fed says it's going to tighten rates or increase rates, right? Does everybody get that? Mark, in the 80s, you could get 14% guaranteed for 5%. Can you believe that? The other reason that the F, we have an F in Fed is what? They have, I forget the number, guys, $5 trillion in US dollars that they printed, in the back of their car. Ben Bernanke, remember this? QE, quantitative easing. That was the whole Ben Bernanke. That was essentially the Pope telling Catholics hell didn't exist, right? I'm going to pump $85 billion a month in liquidity into this market. I don't care how much you work out. You can't keep a market down that is having the Federal Reserve pump money into it. Well, guess what has to happen, ladies and gentlemen, in our economy? You got it. It is time to unwind it. So how's that going to go over with the market? Might be extremely volatile, like a lot of you predicted. The other F in not fear are the financials. JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs. I can't stand Goldman Sachs, and I'll tell you why this week. I used to love the Death Star. I can't stand them. JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley. We have positions on in both these, and they are absolutely crushing it. When I just said when interest rates are high, stocks will die, interest rates are low, stocks will grow, I should put a little asterisk on the end. Why? Because not with these folks. Banks love interest rates going up. Why? Because you're going to eat it and they're going to pass it on. Banks aren't charities, folks. It's not the United Way of JP Morgan. Banks and financials are going to have a rip your face off 2018. Did anybody notice what the financials did during the market freakout? Let's take a quick look at, let me see if, stop, at like a JP Morgan. Hold on a second. Let me pull up how'd the financials do while I'm pulling this up? How did the financials do? You got it, folks. Good. A lot of you understand this. Let's take a look at a chart of JP Morgan here and how it did during, there's I love WYNN. We're going to talk about WYNN here. Look at what did the overall market do at the end of January into February? Rip your face off rally, and we almost all died. What did JP Morgan do? A little bit of a head fake, and then a nice run. The financials held up fine. They outperformed the market when it went full freak mode. Okay, folks? So I'm going to teach you why they did that, and I'm going to tell you about our current positions in these. I absolutely agree with whoever just wrote that. I'd buy every dip in the financials except on that clown. These are old. They're from when I love Goldman Sachs, but look at the type of trading we were doing here, guys. Everybody, let me take a look at some of this. I don't know if Diane's still in here. I didn't see Mike in here either. Mike, how many did Mike do? Mike did 20 contracts. I did 5. So folks who are asking about portfolio size and all sorts of stuff, I'm going to show you how I trade. If I'm doing 20 contracts on a trade, for example, and I'm risking $5,000, right? I don't want to risk that. The most I want to risk is $2,500. All right, Einstein, then maybe you do. I can't give you investment advice. Wiz, that's stupid. I'm a billionaire and I don't want to risk $25,000. Maybe you do 40 kind. I don't know. But look at this screen. When we were crushing it in Goldman Sachs, look at Mike. 20 contracts. He was up. He topped out, ladies and gentlemen. This is one trade. This is when I was predicting that Trump was going to win, and oh my God, you're nuts, man. You're mental. No, the liberal media is, and everybody who thinks she's going to win. How did I know that, folks? We got to talk over beer or a bottle of wine about this. I was giving speeches around the country, right? It was Strike Fighter Financial, my company. I give keynotes, motivational keynotes, and business consulting. I talked to people at the damn cocktail parties afterwards. People were like, they'd whisper. They'd look around and make sure nobody heard them, like they were going to get hit in the head with a shovel if they're like, I'm voting for Trump. I'm like, why are you whispering? So I knew this was going to happen, and we nailed it. He topped out at $150,000. Where's Diane? Diane was up about $36,000. Chuck, 19 in 3 months. Where's Harry? Harry was up $60,000 in Goldman Sachs. Again, folks, men lie, numbers don't. These are screenshots from the damn live trade briefs. Absolutely awesome. And I'm going to teach you how to do all this stuff, folks, okay? That's my underachieving sister. She knows Donald Trump. She knows in full disclosure, I know the Treasury Secretary. I've had dinner with Steve. I'm not going to type his whole name. Everybody knows Steve Mnuchin, right? He was a partner with my sister at Dune Capital. So my sister, her name's Kia. It's short for Cornelia. So my sister Monica, I had a sister Monica who passed away in a car crash when she was a freshman at Villanova University. But apparently when she was younger, she couldn't pronounce my sister's name, Cornelia. Again, the Irish Catholic family stuff. So she called my sister Kia. So that's my underachieving sister, Kia. So let's just say not only do I have a lot of contacts in the Pentagon and in DC, I got a lot of good buddies in Chicago, London, and New York. So that's my sister. The E in NOTT FFEAR, folks, is Europe. There's Mario Draghi, in case you don't know who he is. He is the Jerome Powell. He's the ECB Fed chief, right? So if he wakes up on Thursday and says, you know what, guys, I think we're going to kind of end our QE, we will see a ripple across the pond, folks. It will hit our market. The market likes certainty. Okay. I appreciate that, Deborah. It wasn't a joyful time in my life. I was going into high school, which is a tough time for a young man anyway. And then, she was, kind of sucked. The A in NOTT FFEAR is Asia. Right? Asia. China, Japan. I told you about Bank of Japan Governor Kuroda, who's speaking this week. The Nikkei got kicked in the teeth last week because of potential quantitative easing. Japan and China are the number one. I think they're tied for first. It was China for a while, then it was Japan. The number one foreign holder of our debt. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me brief you on this real quick. We'll do it live in the market, but take a look at this headline right here. Where's the trade war? The kind of the nuclear option right here. Where's it? Oh my God, Wiz, if we have a trade war with China, won't they stop buying our debt or dump U.S. Treasuries? The answer is no. And I'll tell you about that throughout the week. But and the whole talk of this trade war stuff is way overblown, and we're going to talk through it. But the A, ladies and gentlemen, is Asia. Okay, we had some great trades on FXI. I'll tell you what, I bailed out of FXI for a little bit. Where are we? Where's October? I bailed out of FXI for a little bit, and then we got back in it. But we made about close to 43 grand in 16 months on FX on a long call diagonal and trading the front month. Who's going to get a gold star? Why did I bail out of FXI in October? Why? Fred, yes, those were Goldman Sachs long call. That was a Goldman Sachs long call diagonal. Okay, all those trades, and those weren't even including like front month bull put spreads or anything. The front month trades. That was a long call diagonal. Peter, you nailed it. I bailed out of my FXI trade. I told you a little while ago in October. Why? I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that we have a lot of active duty folks here. We have some political folks. I will tell you that my active duty buddies, not like Jim Comey or Hillary Clinton, and telling me let's just say when my buddies who I taught how to trade options kind of give me a heads up, like, hey, Wiz, I knew this. It was national news. We have 3 carrier strike groups in the Pacific. You taught me how to trade options, and I am going to cash. A couple of my buddies said, Wiz, I'm going to cash in October. I'm like, aha. A couple of my other buddies said, what? I'm going to like almost all cash, but I'm getting long volatility and I'm hedging. So this is one of the side benefits you get here at TGO is I know people. So yeah, folks, exactly. People are answering like, yeah, I thought, oh darn, I wanted to be wrong. Tamara, who else was out there? Harry, we had like 20, 30 people in Lake Tahoe in November for a live event. It was awesome. Loved it. Loved seeing my members in person. I remember bailing out of this in October, and I said, guys, when I see you in Lake Tahoe and we drink a whole case of Camus, I want to be wrong. How many times do you see a professional trader look you in the face and go, I want to be wrong? If I was right, my God, man, we might not even have a stock market now. So to Sam's point, I was wrong to bail out of FXI, but guess what? Being an options trader, you can get back in pretty damn quickly. So there's an example of, hey, man, I pulled the ejection handle, but I'm glad I did. The R in NOTT FFEAR, ladies and gentlemen, is Russia. And we're coming right up on our time, and I'm going to try and put it right through the target here. But, folks, this dude, holy crap. Last week, before I went to bed last night, I watched whenever it comes on, it's like a Godfather marathon or Goodfellas. I have to watch it. The Hunt for Red October came on. I'm like, I think I've seen this movie 20 times, and I watched it. That speech last week was disturbing. As a former naval officer, I'm going to tell you that this is that was disturbing. Okay, but I got to be honest with you. I jokingly say I wear 2 suits at Top Gun Options. A flight suit. I'll tell you how I feel as a former naval officer, and then I'm going to tell you how I feel as Gordon Gekko. Everybody knows who Gordon Gekko. Everybody gets that analogy, right? T, when will the recording be available? As soon as I get done with each trade brief, even though it'll be late tonight, I immediately press render. I have to render the video, and then I have to upload it to the webpage. So shortly, okay? Greed is good. Everybody remembers the movie Wall Street. Gordon Gekko, man. You want a friend, buy a dog, right? Greed is good. So there are some trades that I put on that I don't like. It's called a hold your nose trade. We were bullish on Russia using the RSX for a long time. Look that symbol up. The RSX is an ETF that tracks Russia. We also trade. One of our huge winners is Brazil. I love Brazil and the EWZ. But anyway, folks, Wiz, Why, a former naval officer, you were trained to shoot down Soviet MiGs and everything like that. Why would you be bullish on Russia? Because I want to make money. If it's a sector or a thing where I got to be honest with you, I'm going to talk about WYNN and also MGM in a little bit. There was a slaughter, ladies and gentlemen, at the Mandalay Bay a couple months ago. Isn't it weird that in hours we knew more about this kid that I can't even believe is still walking around, allowed to walk around down here, or he's not walking around, but the kid, we knew more in hours about this school shooter up the street than the dude at the Mandalay Bay. My point being that I go Gordon Gekko at certain moments, folks. We got when MGM imploded on that, it sucks. I weep. We got into it. WYNN, the dude's Harvey Weinstein, but out in Vegas, stock implodes. We get into it. We sold it. We shorted it. And now I'll show you WYNN in a couple minutes. So that's, if it's flying over your head, you haven't seen the movie Wall Street. Does everybody understand that? So now let's get more tactical, and then we'll wrap up with some questions. Here are the sectors that I am targeting in 2018. You ready? And write this stuff down or take a screenshot. Financials. I already briefed. I'm not going to take up more airtime with why you need to be bullish on the financials. We'll take a look at being bullish on a financial this week in one of the live trade briefs. Okay, we'll talk maybe JP Morgan. Yep, everything's recorded, folks. You get access to all the recordings. I'll cover that at the end. Energy. You got to be bullish on energy, man. And we're going to need Elon Musk, God bless him, and all his visions and all that stuff. We're going to need all it takes is for Saudi Arabia to send it 3 months ago, Houthi rebels in Yemen. Who the hell are that? They're Iranians, folks. They fired 2 ballistic missiles about a week or 2 weeks apart one into Riyadh. I've lived in Riyadh. I was stationed in Riyadh for 3 months, and one at a palace. Our Patriot batteries shot the damn things down, folks. The young guy that's going to become the crown prince, who threw a bunch of people in jail, like the CNBC creepy, really rich Arab dude, the sheikh. He said this is an act of war, ladies and gentlemen. It takes one thing to go bump in the night in the Persian Gulf. That place ain't getting better. Iran, thank you, President Obama, is getting nukes. It will happen. Okay? Do you think Saudi Arabia on the left side of the Gulf wants Iran to get nukes? If any of you know, let me give you a quick tour of history here. Saudi Arabia has supported Pakistan's nuclear ambition since day one. Why? So they don't have to do their own. I will let you can Google this, but Saudi Arabia can buy a nuke off the shelf, ready to go from Pakistan. I'll leave it at that. So now, thanks to President Obama, we have a nuclear arms race in the Persian Gulf. Great. You have to be long energy. Defense, folks. Raytheon. Write that symbol down. You got to be in the defense stocks. We're also targeting the SIN sector and the transports. After this tax thing, folks, and this trade war stuff goes away, Donald J. Trump I love it. He puts out this big infrastructure bill, which sounds like a Democrat talking about spending this and bridges and unions. The Democrats, of course, said it ain't enough. You have got to love some of the transports here. We love CSX. And again, I'm going to show you positions this week. We will put on new ones. This is just kind of a targeting brief. And then I'm going to use this term this week. I guess there's new Star Treks on. Everybody remembers Captain Kirk. I love the beginning of the old Star Trek. To boldly go where no man has gone before, or no person, sorry. You have got to be bullish on Carl Icahn, Warren Buffett, my skin's crawling saying this name, George Soros, Ken Griffin at Citadel, Steve Cohen at SAC Capital, who should be in jail and is more or less a felon. They didn't get rich by following you. Or for that matter, they didn't get rich by following me. You know what they do? They go to places that ain't exactly in favor right now, and they trade. I'm going to show you how we have been printing money on Brazil. Shock. What was it, 6 months ago? Oh, my God. I personally know the people involved in this scandal, and I'll brief you maybe tomorrow or Wednesday about it. I worked for a year and a half giving speeches around the United States for a Brazilian, one of the largest food companies in the world, called JBS. 6 months ago, breaking news, JBS CEO and his brother caught on tape, bribing President Temer. The market imploded, the Bovespa. So let me get this straight. People don't know there's political corruption in Brazil. We bought the hell out of the EWZ when it imploded, and I'll show you a chart of it. So that's our Captain Kirk trade. We're boldly going where nobody's gone before. What is missing from this list? Let's see if everybody still has their thinking brains on. What is missing from this list? Let me see your answers. Tech. One guy got it. John. Mark got it. Retail. Nope. There are two. Mark. Another Mark. I'm not a crypto man. A hedge, but also what? No, I'm sorry, tech. Half you guys got it and the other half got it too. There's no hedge in here, right? And I'm going to talk about hedging this week, how to protect against a pullback, but there ain't no tech. Amazon is not a tech company, folks. You can ditch that from the word FANG. It's a services company. They use tech. Hell, they're blasting rockets, folks. It ain't a tech company. So good job. I'm glad people are paying attention because there are two things missing from that list. I love it. Well done. So JP Morgan, we're going to talk about this week. ExxonMobil, we're going to talk about Raytheon, the gift that keeps on giving. Amazon, we're going to talk about NGM. Well, I forgot to put WYNN on here. WYNN has been a gift for the past couple months. The sexual harassment thing, the skipper, Steve WYNN resigning, I have loved, and Brazil. Apple, I'm going to ditch that one. So we're going to trade many of these names this week. Not all of them, not this, but we're also going to take a look at volatility. Obviously, man, we had a one-day trade today. What a great day we had here, and I'm having a great night too. All right, Raytheon is up our position is up 526% in the past months. I'm going to tell you why this is the only, I get defense stock, but I mean, it's in commercial stuff too. This is not a Boeing, not a General Dynamics, not a Northrop Grumman, not a Lockheed, none of those things. Look at Boeing. Boeing imploded last week on the trade war thing. Aluminum, steel, all that crap. We got into Raytheon right there, and look at this thing, man. We have traded not only a LCD, long call diagonal, but we have put on bull put spreads all the way up. I think we had like one bear call spread in here. This thing has been phenomenal. 526% return. And when we're in the live trade briefs, there's a couple live trade briefs where you guys can see each other's chat. I want my members to they're going to post their returns in these positions. Killing it with Raytheon. Love hearing that. Yep. I know you guys are. WYNN. This was a Gordon Gekko moment. We have made nearly $20,000 in 2 months on limited risk, right? We have not lost one trade. Oh, for Christ's sake. One trade in WYNN. What happened right here, ladies and gentlemen? We were actually in a live trade brief. Everybody knows, if you don't know what happened in WYNN, Steve WYNN, big Republican. I've met Steve WYNN. I used to refuel his jet at Atlantic City International Airport. The breaking news during our live trade brief was what? All of these trades, ladies and gentlemen, somebody said position size. I don't go by position size. I go by risk. The maximum risk in any one of these trades is never any more right in the ballpark of $5,000 or less. When we do a range-bound trade called an iron condor, we've for the past couple weeks, as this thing settled into a range, I'm going to teach you this week a tactic called an iron condor, which means I don't know where the stock's going, but I just think it's going to hover. So there's the answer to that question. Ladies and gentlemen, we were in a live trade brief. Breaking news: Steve WYNN is a pervert, or whatever it was. I said, oh my God, let's pound this thing into the dirt. About $2,200. Then it stabilized for a couple days. And what did I do? I said, folks, the guy's got to resign. This ain't government, right? In government, God, look at Bill Clinton. Lied under oath, committed perjury. You commit perjury, folks, and see what happens to you. I said, the guy's got to resign. We put on a bull put spread right here. Literally the next day, Steve WYNN resigns as CEO. The trade could have potentially made $2,000. We closed it. If you can make $1,000 in a day, folks, we got a 50% return in that trade in a day. So this was $2,200 going down. This was $1,000, and then in the past 3 weeks, it's been in iron condor range. We're looking at $20,000. This is why I call this a Gordon Gekko moment. I am capitalizing on this guy either being a scumbag or not. I really don't know. I don't care. Okay, this is awesome. Okay, so Whiz, I will be in the Philippines for the next 3 months. Are you running away from the law there, Gene? And my time zone will not match your briefs. Will this be a problem? The answer is no, folks. I send out this. You're going to see live this week what we do in a live trade brief, folks. I'll send out a text alert. I think I sent one to you guys today. When you opted into these webinars for the week, there was a field that said, "Hey, this is optional. Put in your cell phone in case you want to get text alerts." Don't put your cell phone in here now, guys. I can't retroactively add you. So you should have done it. But anyway, the answer is it's not going to affect you at all, man. Where's Graham? I don't think Graham's in here. We have folks in Australia. We have folks in China. I got buddies in Afghanistan and Iraq. We have people trading around. I think we have 2 members in Dubai. So we have people who I'll show you one of my slides, guys. I have a couple members who have been here for. One was 3. He's been here 3 years and he's never watched me live. He works. 80% of our members work, and they either maybe during their lunch break watch the replay of the live trade brief, or they or after the kids go to bed. But during the live trade sessions, folks, when I see a trade, the text alert fires immediately, and we text around the world. Canadians, everybody gets the text. It's fun to see when people go within 2 seconds. So it's cool. So being in a PI ain't going to. Yes, we can text a Philippine number. Folks, we text every country. Well, that's why I asked where everybody was from. We currently have 37 countries here, folks. I got to check my database. We probably have people in the PI, but I don't know. So no, it's not going to be an issue. So folks, when you see stuff like this, you have to capitalize on it. Again, I'm horrified by what happened at the Mandalay Bay. But when MGM pulled back on that, I'm like, they ain't going out of business, folks. We got bullish, and we traded MGM pretty successfully for a while there, too. So we talked about what's missing, folks. Hedges. We did this today, folks. We did a single trade. I said volatility is going to come in, meaning go down. I'll show you a chart of the VIX here, but look at some of these VIX trades. I don't know if Harry's in here or Steve. Over 100% I traded on that. Harry made 116% on a VXX trade. JW was up 82%. Benoit's in Sweden. Benoit is in one of the S countries. So we have folks over in Europe too, okay? So I'm going to teach you how to hedge and also trade volatility, folks. The mission objective, and we're going to wrap up here in a couple minutes. I went a little long, and my apologies. Everybody gets a free shot. There's Harry. So you want to be this guy. Oh, that looks pretty awful, Wiz. Well, guess what? It was either this or die. Let me give you a little bit of a background on this. Everybody see this was a Royal Canadian F-18. This is the plane that I flew, but it's up in Canada. This gentleman was doing an air show practice, right? He was at 200 feet with his nose parked right up in the air. He was demonstrating the slow flight capability of the F-18 Hornet. I mean, if you were on the runway underneath him, you could have driven your car faster than him. He was doing about 85 miles an hour. All of a sudden, out of the blue, his engine failed. That ain't good. Everybody see this engine right here? With the nozzle closed, nozzle open, good. Thrust coming out. Nozzle closed, bad. As soon as this guy's engine failed, the nose fell over and yawed to the right. And within the blink of an eye, this guy was out of the airplane. So look at the jet's sideways, folks, and he's already pointing straight up. Everybody, if you can squint, Karen, don't tell me to put my glasses on. I know this picture. Everybody look at his head. He's undergoing, right? You see that force, folks? That is 40 Gs, 40 times the force of gravity. If he weighs 200 pounds, anybody know what 40 times 200 pounds is? That is what is sitting on top of his head. Now, I'm going to ask all you a question, not all of you. Members, again, I know you know the answer. You're not allowed to answer this. You ready? If you're new, I'll show you the footage in a second. You ready? If you're new, I want you to answer this. When did this flight lieutenant, or whatever his rank was, when did he make the decision to pull that ejection handle? Answers now. Go. When did he decide to eject? Anybody know? Let me read some of these. 25 seconds. Nope. As soon as he saw no chance for recovery. Nope. Immediately. Nope. Microseconds before. Nope. Lloyd, yes. Bob, yes. Richard, no. Harry, you can't answer, but that was your answer. When he started to yaw. No, before the. Yep. I'm not reading the right answer because I went. Jeff, you got it. Bill, you got it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this flight lieutenant made the decision to get out of this airplane in the brief. There's a reason at Top Gun Options I call these live trade briefs. This gentleman sat there and said, okay, during the high alpha, low speed pass, if I lose an engine, man, I got to get out of this thing. They did the math, ladies and gentlemen, the Canadian Mishap Board. If he had waited a half a blink of an eye, if he had waited that much longer, he would have ejected straight into the ground. That's exactly right. There was no thinking because he knew what to do. Why am I bringing this up? First of all, because he managed risk. He gave that jet back to the taxpayers, man. There was no reason for me to die in that. This is how I'm going to teach you the trade. You want to live to fight another day. You're not going to go all in on a trade and go, I can't. This is going to make this amount of money. How much can you lose? I don't know, but it can make this. And then you find out that's how much you can lose. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to manage risk. And so here's I'll put a bow on it. You might be sitting there saying, okay, this guy's a fighter pilot and he's talking to me about risk. One of the most riskiest jobs in the world. Folks, fighter pilots, options traders are probably some of the most risk averse people you'll ever meet. Before I ever place any trade, you'll see it tomorrow afternoon live, or before I went on any mission, I said, how am I going to get killed? What is my max potential loss? And if I'm not okay with that, it ain't a suicide mission, folks. I either don't do the amount of contracts, or I figure something out, or I hedge. So that's why you're here at Top Gun Options, folks. Obviously, we want to have a great air show and never have this happen, but if it does, we want to get out of the airplane before it's a fireball. Does that make sense? Everybody give me a vertical head nod if you understand that. Okay. Ryan, wow, an hour and a half and still no clue of what your service is. So what exactly do you offer and what is the cost? And it says, Ryan, hold on. So everybody stop typing for a second. So I'm not going to necessarily badmouth the guy because he left, but I am going to badmouth him because I don't want that guy here. Let me show you this. If after an hour and a half you don't know what I do, and look at this. So what's his name? Rian, if you're watching this on the replay, do me a favor and don't come back the rest of the week. And I'm being totally serious. You're not going to have a good time. Okay, this is that's the type of folks who I don't want at Top Gun Options. And if he had said that after he became a member, he wouldn't be a member anymore. I love that. I can't stand that's. So let me. Or wait, did you guys? No, you guys didn't see that. Hold on. Let me show you something. I'll show you. So right here, guys. Does everybody see this? I'm trying. This was the point in doing this aftermarket hours, folks, at night. Right, tomorrow in the market, shit's going to be busy, man. We're going to be flying around and doing stuff. That is not the person that I want at TGO. So if you kind of agree with this dude, I'm going to tell you tomorrow what the portfolios are and the trades and everything like that. All right, but again, the guy left, and I don't necessarily like bad-mouthing people when they're not here, but that's comical. Good. Well, good. The folks that stayed get it. So that's why you guys are going to be happy here. So Deborah, that's exactly right. But I predicted it, folks. We have one in every crowd, and that was him. So, good on him. That's okay. Let me do this real quick since somebody asked. Canada F-18 crash. You got to watch this, man. Watch how fast this happens. Okay. I don't know if it goes over real well, like as we're sitting here. All right, watch. Hold on. So I'm going to go full screen, and everybody watch how quickly this happens. You ready? Watch this.
Eager aviation buffs came to the Lethbridge Airport to get a sneak peek of Canada's fighter jet in action. It quickly becomes obvious witnesses saw more than they bargained for.
Look at that. Now it's in slow motion. He knows, okay, my engine's out. I'm out. Yeah, I'll put that link in there for you guys. But So that's what, we don't want to be that dude, but we want to live to fight another day. Okay. So yes, Harry, exactly. He didn't even see one of my political rants yet. So Steve, another one bites the dust. Guys, I don't mean to be rude, but that's this is exactly why we did tonight. Okay, here is the replay page. I'm going to send an email out later with this replay. There's nothing on here, obviously, right now, but for the rest of the week, hey, Wiz, I work Wednesday or I can't make the Thursday night or anything like that. Don't worry, folks. I'm going to give you good mutual support, and everything's going to be on this replay page right here. It's really easy to remember. Go.topgunoptions.com/FT. That means full throttle replay, FT replay. Don't worry about it. You can save it as a favorite or write it down. Just I'll hook you up for the week, folks. So yes, everything's recorded, and I'll hook you guys up. Okay. Again, for Rihanna, whatever his name is, I apologize. I did go long, but I'm very passionate about what I do. And with a new group of potential folks, I know some of you missed January when I don't kid around, folks. Obviously, when we got 50 new members right here, and we've had an absolute blast. And then I've gotten a lot of emails from folks that saying, "Hey, I've noticed in your daily videos, you guys are doing pretty damn good. Can you open up?" So by the end of this week, hopefully we'll have some 50 new motivated members. Okay, so I will see. Let me put up here's the page with the whole flight schedule. And like I said, you'll get an email an hour before every one of these briefs. If you're listening to me right now, you're registered for the entire week. Okay. But if you want to see the flight schedule, it's right here. I'll put this in the chat box. Okay. Whoops. No. All right. And then we're good to go, man. I'm going to go have a good rest of my night. So the flight schedule's right on here, guys. Okay. Whoever just asked for the link, we just knocked that out. So one down, and then we got some serious trading to do this week, guys. Trading is a form of combat. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. Thank you. I appreciate that, sir. Guys, this is the greatest session I've seen. I appreciate that. And it's funny because a lot of you are saying this was a great session, and then we got dudes that are like, this was the shittiest thing I've seen. So I guess it takes all kinds. So, all right, folks, have a great rest of your night, morning, afternoon, or whatever it is. I'm going to see you at 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow, and we're going to trade. We're going to get in the markets, and we're going to trade, and we're going to take a look at what's going on, okay? Yeah, you can't fix stupid. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. Thank you, Karen, for reminding me to put my glasses on. Now that we know each other, tomorrow and the rest of the week, I won't feel bad about wearing my cheaters. Bob, after a year, I still love you. Thank you, Bob. I love you too. Thanks, Jack. Blue sky is green. You got it, man. Have a great rest of your night. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, guys. God bless, and I'll see many of you guys tomorrow. We're going to have a great week here at Top Gun Options with our Full Throttle program. We'll see you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.